If you've ever dreamed of working in America, listen up because there's some pretty shocking news making the rounds. A huge new fee has been proposed for the H-1B visa, which, is the main ticket for skilled foreign workers. And we're not talking about a small price hike here. We're talking about a six-figure sum. So who does this actually apply to? Is it for everybody or just certain groups? Okay, let's dive in and get this all sorted out. So let's just get right to it. The number at the center of all this is $100,000. Now, to put that into perspective, especially for the folks in India who make up the largest group of applicants, that's roughly 83 lakh rupees. Think about that. This isn't just some administrative fee. It's an amount of money so large it could change careers and lives, and it's what an employer would have to pay. The sheer size of this proposed fee is what has everybody talking. So, this brings us to the most important question in this whole thing. Who is actually on the hook for this? Is it U.S. citizens, green card holders, or is it only non-citizens coming from places like India, China, and elsewhere? This is the core of what we're about to break down. But hey, before we can figure out who's impacted, we need to make sure we're all on the same page. To really get why this fee is such a massive deal, we first have to do a quick refresh on the H-1B visa itself, what it is, and why it's so important to so many people. So, in simple terms, the H-1B is the main tool the United States uses to bring in highly skilled talent from all over the world. It's a temporary work visa, meaning it's not a green card, and it's specifically for jobs that require specialized knowledge. The kind of roles that typically need at least a bachelor's degree. And you can probably guess where this talent is needed most. The tech industry, engineering, finance, healthcare, these are the big players that really rely on H-1B workers. But here's the catch. There's a strict limit of about 85,000 new visas each year, and they're given out through a lottery. With hundreds of thousands of people applying, the demand is just way, way higher than the supply. It's incredibly competitive. So who are we talking about here? Well, overwhelmingly, it's professionals and international students who've just graduated from American universities. And the largest groups, by far, come from India and China. Now, this context is absolutely essential for understanding why this new $100,000 fee is making such huge waves in those communities. All right, now that we've got the background covered, let's get to the main event, a detailed breakdown of exactly who gets hit by this $100,000 fee. And the answer is a little more nuanced than you might think. Okay, so this part is actually pretty straightforward. If you're a U.S. citizen, there's zero impact. Of course, you don't need a work visa in your own country. Same deal for green card holders. You're a permanent resident, you already have the right to work. So this rule is laser-focused on one group, non-U.S. citizens who need this specific visa to work in the States. But even within that non-U.S. citizen group, the impact hits differently. For someone who's already on an H-1B, this fee would pop up when it's time to renew their visa or if they want to switch to a new job. For international students on OPT, that's the work period after graduation, they're fine while they're looking for a job. But the second a company decides to sponsor them for an H-1B, that company is suddenly looking at this enormous bill. And of course, each four dependents, the spouses and kids, they get hit indirectly because their status is tied to the main H-1B holder. Let's make this real. Imagine an engineering student from India. She just graduated with a master's from a U.S. university and gets a fantastic job offer. But for that company to actually hire her on an H-1B visa, they would now have to pay that massive $100,000 fee. All of a sudden, she's a much, much more expensive hire than a local candidate. Or take this case, a software developer from China who's been working at a big tech company like Microsoft for years. He's a valued member of the team, but his visa is up for renewal. Under this new rule, his employer would have to shell out this huge cost just to keep him on board. So you see, it affects brand new hires and loyal employees alike. So you have to be asking yourself, why? Why such a drastic change? The sticker shock is real, but what's the logic behind it? To really get the full picture, we've got to look at the arguments from both sides of the issue. The thinking from the U.S. perspective is really about control and protection. The main goal is to protect American jobs by making it way more expensive to hire from abroad. The second idea is to make sure companies are really serious about it, that they only sponsor H-1B visas for roles that are genuinely critical and hard to fill. But if you're on the other side, it looks completely different. It's seen as a giant wall. For small and medium-sized companies, it's pretty much unaffordable, which would lock them out of the global talent pool. And for students, it could seriously slash their chances of ever getting sponsored in the first place. So, where does all of this leave us? Let's pull everything together and take a look at the path ahead. When you boil it all down, the takeaway is pretty clear. If this rule is enacted, It would create a massive financial burden. That burden falls on the companies, but it directly impacts the chances of foreign workers. And since Indian students and professionals are the single largest group of H-1B users, they are the ones who stand to be affected the most. It's also really important to know this might not be the final word. A policy change this big is almost certain to face legal challenges, which could delay it, change it, or even stop it. But the message right now is clear. For anyone who is currently on an H-1B or hopes to get one, planning ahead carefully has never, ever been more important. And all of this leaves us with the big question to think about. Is a policy like this the right way to protect domestic jobs and make sure only the most essential foreign talent is brought in? Or does it just become a giant barrier that closes the door on the next generation of innovators who want to come and contribute? It's definitely something to consider.